Welcome back. Get settled in, grab some tea, coffee, a drink, maybe popcorn, chips. Who knows, maybe a whole meal because this could take a while. And I commend you if you stick through this whole video because, like I said, I can go on and on and on. While some people appreciate that, some people just want to, they want it fast and furious, which is kind of like how the world is going these days. Look at TikTok, for example, and all the other sites that are out there, and YouTube, for example. If you upload anything beyond 60 seconds, well, it's not a short. It's considered something else. At least TikTok doesn't do that. I wish YouTube would change the policy on that. But trying to fit some of the videos that I post on YouTube within 60 seconds can be a challenge. But anyway, so let's get to these comments and questions right away. So I won't go back any further than, a month, 4 weeks ago. And a few weeks back, actually on October 24th, my YouTube channel was hacked. My Google account was completely hacked. Everything was taken over by the hacker. I had no control, lost complete control. Luckily, the channel was shut down and terminated because the hacker actually violated some community guidelines. It wasn't me, obviously it was them. Anyway, it's kind of lucky they did that because it was an automatic termination, and that stopped the hacker from going and doing any more damage, which was good. But a little bit of a unnerving experience, certainly. Not so much for the channel being hacked, being able to access everything within your Google account and changing authentication codes and changing security, all the other security measures that I had in place, other email addresses and all that stuff. So if you think that your Google account is safe from hackers, that's not the case, and I think this is one of the major issues that individuals, companies, the world, governments will have in the future is all kinds of hackers breaking into their systems and stealing data, and also just creating havoc, because this hacker, for me, just created some havoc. That's all it was. It was more of a torment than anything, but for some people who have a channel, it's their livelihood, and it's major. It's like removing that source of income entirely from their life. So that's, it's a huge detriment to them and their family, right? But hackers, I don't think, really care. They have no morals. They, are, I guess, angry, despicable, criminal people who do these horrible things. Narcissistic psychopaths, I suppose. Anyway, enough about that. So let's get on to the first question here. A comment in response to the Windows 11 good or evil video that I did. Still on Windows 10. Well, a lot of people are, and actually, a buddy of mine just asked me to fix his laptop, and I installed Windows 10 on it because I couldn't install Windows 11 for hardware reasons. And this is what some other people are saying here as well, right? Can't install it because you're not eligible to actually update to Windows 11. And according to a lot of stats, a lot of people have not upgraded to Windows 11. So I hear Windows 12 is coming, but Windows 11, though, I think Microsoft is catching on, and I think they are really starting to improve. For example, Task Manager and File Explorer, having tabs and stuff on there. And I think they're doing some good things, and I hope they continue down that path. Windows operating systems. I'm on a Mac right now. I'm recording this on a Mac, but I have both, right? One is great, and the other one's also pretty great, right? So for me, the Windows OS is wonderful because of gaming and for other reasons as well. But also the Mac operating system is very good as well, right? There's issues with both of them. If you think there's no issues with Mac OSs, well, you're wrong, because there is. And if you're on Mac and you think, oh my gosh, I'm having so much problems here, I'll just go to Windows and have no problems. Well, there's problems across both platforms, and also security issues. One is not really more secure than the other one. It depends on how you browse, and it depends on the security that you have installed and whatnot. So yeah, Those are my thoughts on that. This person says Windows, yeah, 11 is evil. Totally get that. That's fine. For some people, it's been just a nightmare. A total, absolute nightmare. Like, for example, this person here. I have such a bad experience with Windows 10. Yeah, no kidding. If you had a bad experience with Windows 10, certainly you'll have a bad experience probably with Windows 11. And going back to my buddy who just gave me this laptop, you wouldn't guess what operating system was on this. It was a Dell touchscreen, actually. It was 8 years old, so it was probably a very expensive laptop back in the day. I installed Windows 10 on it, and it works. Everything is fine on it. But couldn't install Windows 11 on it, even though he was saying, well, let's just put a Windows 11 on. I'm like, I can't because of hardware restrictions and stuff. And when I installed, Windows 10 and I did the verification with the update, that, obviously told me that it's not eligible. But Windows 8, which was on this, was just, Windows 8, in my opinion, was one of those major flops. Windows ME was another one that was a major flop. I came from a DOS environment, so from that to Windows 3.1, and while that was an amazing OS at the time, I remember thinking, oh my goodness, this is like a completely different animal altogether. Of course, there were major issues with that. With drivers, and if a driver broke, you'd have to install everything all over again. So now we don't even know how good we have when it comes to operating systems. You literally are up and running with all drivers installed without any headaches. Within a couple of hours, you're done, which is, to me, from where I come from, it's just a miracle. Like, it's just incredible. So it's all about perspective, I suppose. Which microphone is best for this camera? This is, this camera is still a good camera. I did this a few years ago, probably not 8-9 years ago. I still have this camera. I don't use it a whole lot anymore because phones these days, it's just quick and easy. But this is still an excellent camera, the Panasonic FZ300. I used to use a lapel mic, a wired one, but you can get a wireless one if you had some extra money. Wireless would be probably a better way to go in some respects, although wired is, you have no trouble with wired. You just plug it in and unplug it. Then I used to have a long extension cord with it, so if I had to run and get the door or something or answer the phone, I could just unplug it very easily. This is where I created a map in cities' skylines, and I do from time to time do this. It takes you quite a while to do it, but it's rewarding because it's like, it's like your own little world that you've created, and especially if you build a city in this world that you created. But yeah, well, I have more patience than you. I don't know about that, but if you like doing it, it's a good way to spend a few hours, that's for sure. All right, so this is the video I posted about another $20,000 battery replacement for an electric vehicle, and my thoughts on EVs are, well, it's a nice little thing right now, and it's new and blah, 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 but I don't think batteries are great, and, I think in tropical climates, I think, this is maybe a solution that will work, but in colder climates, it doesn't, because batteries lose a lot of efficiency in colder climates, right? So in Canada here, for example, right? There's a mandate 2030 for dealerships for selling new vehicles. They can't sell anything that has a combustion engine in it. So I really hope they come up with something before then, because, where I am in southern Ontario, it doesn't get that cold for most of the year, but in the winter it gets down to minus 20, minus 30, minus 40 sometimes. EVs, batteries in minus 40, they're going to lose probably 20 to 40%. It's crazy. And I agree with a lot of comments here about, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, this person, I guess, maybe owns an EV. I don't know, but it's akin to changing the engine. Well, I don't know who's changing their engines every 5 years. I really don't know. And an engine in a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 car that has, a combustion engine is not going to cost you $20,000. I can tell you that right now. It's just not going to happen. We have to get off this environmental kick. We have to try and instill policies and go forward and trying to save the planet, or be better and kinder to the planet. But let's not jump on this bandwagon where you have kids that are 13 years old that really have no formal education, no life experience, preaching to the world that, we're going in the wrong direction and we're actually going to completely annihilate the planet unless we, do this or do this or do something else. Listen, we are certainly, I think, listening, and hopefully we're listening to educated, smart people who can make changes and help the environment, but we do it where we don't destroy humanity in the process. And what I mean by that is, energy is energy, and in some countries you don't have the luxury, like, for example, of going green, right? You just don't. And we, as first world countries, can't dictate to third world countries that, oh no, you can't have combustible anything anymore. Because it doesn't work that way, right? If you're an elite, then it's completely different, right? It's so simple for you to say, well, you can't use this. You can just use alternative sources. Well, those alternative sources cost a fortune, like electric vehicles, for example. I mean, here in Canada, they're $80,000 to $120,000, and then you have to put $20,000 into them every 5 or 6 or 7 years because the batteries are all dead. Take comfort in the fact that in countries are listening to scientists and everyone, and we're going in a more positive direction, but we have to do it slowly. We can't just all of a sudden jump into something, and say, oh yeah, batteries are the solution. No, probably not. But we have, what I'm saying? We have to work our way through this problem, and we have to do it slowly and methodical, but we have to also think about not only the environment, we also have to think about the economy. I mean, you can't destroy the economy because that's going to cause all kinds of other havoc, right? So don't get too depressed about, this, and don't get upset and depressed because you think that somehow you're part of this major problem in the world and you're destroying the planet, because if you don't recycle every single thing you put in, if you're that type of person that, has anxiety because of this, try to rest easy into the fact that, it's companies, large corporations and governments that really need to do better. And I understand that we have to try and push them to do better, but everyone has to move in a pace where it's going to be, economically and feasible, and it's not going to affect, everyone's life and lifestyle. I know in some countries, like, for example, that still burn coal. And here in Canada, we have natural gas, and I heard, there's been plans maybe set in motion to get rid of natural gas. Can you imagine getting rid of natural gas here in southern Ontario? What are you going to go to? Electricity? Where's electricity going to come from? Nuclear. Okay, that's clean, but it's also very dangerous, and nuclear is still not popular. Although I have to say, nuclear is probably one of the better clean options that we have, and of course environmentalists don't want to hear anything about that because nuclear is nuclear. But maybe nuclear could be, instead of fission, it could be fusion in the future, which would be miraculous. But all right, let's move along right here. The Japanese capacitors, yeah, well, this person's saying don't open your power supply and stick your hand inside. I think that's really, really sound advice. Don't do that. Do not open your power supply up. And even if you unplug your power supply, make sure you wait for quite a while. Make sure you're grounded. Make sure you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, get someone that knows what they're doing before opening up your power supply. And to be honest, I believe most people wouldn't probably be opening up the power supply anyway. Probably a lot of people these days are just buying pre-built systems. Something goes wrong, they bring it to the shop, and then someone who's qualified can fix it. Questions and comments. This was about Windows 3.1 and DOS. Yes, well, kind of the same thing as me. That's where I came from, DOS environment to Windows 3.1, and all the way from there. So it's interesting how when you make your way from the ground up, you view whatever that is that you're into completely different than people who just kind of slide and slip into something, and it's so easy for them, like kids, for example, today, right, that are maybe, 6 to 15, let's say. They can't appreciate. They really can't. I mean, and I'm not blaming them. I mean, it's not their fault. They just slipped right into the middle of all this, where games just look like reality. VR is, well, is reality, right? Uh, so you know, all there's no foundation. They can't you really understand where they can watch, you know, all kinds of stuff and read stuff about where it all came from, but they were never there, so they really can't know or feel what it was actually like and experience what it was actually like. Just like myself, I can't experience what my grandfather went through, or I mean, everyone can't experience everything in life, but what I'm saying is that, you know, I have a different perspective certainly on computers than a lot of people out there. I mean, I'm in my 50s, so you know, I kind of saw the dawn of a lot of things. You know, not the beginnings, but close on it. I mean, you know, VIC 20s and even Pong. I had a Pong, which was basically just the thing you'd plug into a television, and you know, you had little sliders that would go up and down, and it would, you know, a little dot on the screen would bounce from all across the screen. You'd have to bounce it back and forth. Yeah, that was fun. It's expensive too. This is something about, yeah, the people on the internet really blasting others for simply existing is odd. Is an odd one. Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, but people, you know, some people are sane, some people are insane, some people are in the middle. So, you know, I don't really care. I don't care what you say about me or to me or at me. Over the years, I've developed an extremely thick skin, so I don't really care what you say, you know. And on this platform, of course, you can block it, and you can block them, and of course they can come back and, you know, whatever. So it can be quite, you know, annoying. It's like a fly, right? And I did experience that at the beginning when I first started releasing videos in the year, that was 2000, 22 years ago, when I started doing video reviews. You know, there was no one around then doing them, so you know, I was literally harassed like you wouldn't believe, because there was written reviews back then, but not video reviews. And you know, a lot of people, I don't know who they were really per se. Well, I have some idea, but you know, it just bashing me, I guess, is just like, I don't know exactly why, but some people, when they see or hear or things new, they get all excited and they don't know what else to do except you know, bash the person, I suppose. But there's lots of stuff online these days, you know, and I think this is one of the reasons why social networking and being online is so mentally exhausting. You can never win an argument online. You'll never ever, you know, if you get into that stuff, trying to go back and forth and fight and make comments and think that your comment is better than the other comment and all this kind of stuff, it never works. It doesn't work. All it does is make you upset and angry. That's it. Okay, the dawn of the internet. Yeah, well, I had my first computer in 1994. Well, I beat you there, man. I think my first real computer was, I think it was an Epson in 1985, I believe. Boy, I think it was $2,000 or $3,000 back then. Back then, $2,000 or $3,000. So, oh, and now we complain about video cards, and me included, that are $2,000 or $3,000 a pop, and rightfully so. Telecoms are ruthless. Yes, they are. I mean, up here in Canada, you're looking at probably, with tax, you're looking at $70 to $150 just for a smartphone package if you want something that's decent. Now, there are packages out there that are cheaper than that, but sometimes they don't have good coverage and good features and all that kind of stuff. So, we can dictate that, and if we're not willing to pay all these prices, just, you know, a lot of people are, especially now these days with the way the world is, a lot of people are cutting the extras, right? They're cutting streaming services, they're cutting their cell phone. Maybe they have two cell phone packages in their house and they're cutting one of them. You know, $70, $100 something a month is you know, is quite a lot for a lot of people. And if you're, you know, up there and you're rich, well, $100 is nothing. It's like, you know, 10 cents, right? The very few people are filthy rich. I am so glad that you're enjoying your new format that you were doing. I enjoy more personalized content. Well, thank you. Do you play VR? No, I don't. This is what I will say about VR. I personally think VR is a very dangerous thing, and I think games are dangerous in the sense that they're very addictive and they can waste a lot of time, and they can possibly impact your life in a negative way. They can also be a very positive thing in your life if it depends on, if you have some moderation. But, if you don't and you pour all your time into that, then other things are going to get neglected, and other, people are going to get neglected. But that can be said for anything. I mean, maybe you travel too much, or maybe you golf too much, or, you can't just say that about games. But VR, virtual reality, is just, to me, it is an extremely dangerous thing. I think VR would be good for, things like remote access to tools, maybe on a different planet, like the moon or something, or Mars, where you could do it from a different location or on a spaceship. Things like medical, virtual operations through VR remotely. But when it comes to games in VR, and anyone who has experienced virtual reality, it is real, right? It's crazy. Like, it's just insane. It's highly, highly, highly addictive. And you kind of get lost in games anyway, to be honest. But in a VR game, my goodness, like, it's a whole different dynamic, whole different thing. Developers are making them better and more addictive. I remember back in the day, games used to be like, 10, 20 hours. That was like a really long game, 10, 20 hours. Now they're 100,000 hours. Like, I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2 right now, and I expect I'll be in this game for at least 100 hours, and it will take me probably months to finish it, which is okay. I mean, that's fine. However, it goes on and on and on forever. And so it's and I think now when you play a game that's 10 or 20 hours long, I think in a way it's a relief, because you get in, you get out, and that's it. You're finished. Like, for example, A Plague Tale, Innocence was the one I just finished, and that was a pretty easy playthrough. I think I might have spent maybe, 20 hours in that game. Also, Resident Evil 7, the Biohazard. I think I spent 20 hours in that game, taking my time going through it. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back doing what I'm doing. This is, let's try Supreme Commander Forged Alliance. Lots of games out there. It's hard to play them all, eh? This is a question about screens between the MacBook M1 and the M2. Well, from what I hear, and I don't have any specs in front of me, the M2, with regards to the screen, is that it's brighter. So if you really want to, if you look really outside a lot, or maybe you're in a really, really bright office or something, then maybe go with the, the M2 in that sense. All right, so this is a meme I did about before and after the hack, where I did not have a beard, and then I did have a beard. I decided to grow the beard because, well, Movember, right? It's Men's Mental Health Month, and, well, just Men's Health Month, really. And I don't know, I'm probably going to keep it, so we'll see. There's a few other comments here about the beard. I'll maybe go into further detail about it. Glad to hear you're back. Well, it's good to be back. Free your mind, yeah. How do you free your mind? Get off of social media. That's basically the gist of the video that I did. That's true. You can get on there, just moderate it. What relaxing games are you playing? At least people have some suggestions here. Fallout and Skyrim, I can see that. SnowRunner, The Hunter, Call of the Wild. I've played a little bit of this one, and I found it really slow. Like, we gotta be really hardcore to play this. Like, you gotta get into this game, and it could take you, like, in game, it could take you 3 or 4 hours to hunt down an animal, and everything's pretty realistic. Like, and that's the way hunting is, really, right? But it's almost too realistic, in my opinion. That's just from my perspective. GTA 5 solo, yeah. Tetris, relaxing. Fishing games, yep. You can fish actually in Red Dead Redemption 2 and a few other games that are out there. Yeah, this is a Western Digital hard drive video that I did way back when, the one with the window. Man, that was so cool. And there's been, people have used this video to make funny videos where I said, I think something about it's not so easy to, build a hard drive or construct a hard drive that had a window in it. Well, I think I was correct in saying that. You're trying, yeah. Well, there, I heard of problems with these drives too, but overall, they were fine. Yeah, sparked one of your memes, yeah, about the Western Digital hard drive for sure it did, because like I said, I just shortly after I released that, there was a whole bunch of memes and funny videos made about it. You know, I've always thought that was, I don't know, to me, I thought it was more flattering than not, because while they're making fun of me in one way, you know, it's on the other side of it is, you know, obviously I've struck a chord out there. Never be disappointed. Yes, this is true. How you know how you can never be disappointed? I don't know if you've seen this video or not. It's basically to expect the worst but hope for the best. You're always expecting the best to happen in life. You're probably going to be a little disappointed. I mean, things come up in life, right? So this way, if you do expect the worst, then everything else is gravy, and life isn't easy. And if you have an easy life, well, good for you, but most people don't. If you look at, for example, a military operation, they don't go into an operation and go, yeah, everything's going to be great. You know, don't worry, Henry. You know, it's going to be all right. Don't worry. Don't plan for anything. Let's just go head on. It's going to be, you know, it's going to be a bed of roses. Yeah, that's not the way it works. What's your average price limit for a game? These days, I don't buy any games at release, as I did when I was younger. I wait till they come out. Okay, Game Pass, yeah. Yeah, makes sense. I just wait for 6 months to a year or 2 years, and then after they're patched, and they are cheaper. But generally because they're patched and polished, which is sad, really. Wow, look at you. I have not used social media past 5 years. Well, that's kind of what I did for a while, and I don't really use it now. Like I said, I use it for a tool, really. And when I get on TikTok, I flip through some of the videos and I go, oh my God, seriously? Oh my God. And then I'm like off of it because it's just a mind, you know what? Roller Coaster Tycoon. Someday I might give it a try. Thanks for all of these suggestions, though. Oh, this guy still has, oh my God, original boxes with price stickers on them from Future Shop. Bunch of old games, 25 years ago. Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit, $70. Yeah, things weren't cheap back then. The games now you pick up for like, you know, 10, 20 bucks. You can play them for 100 hours. Talk about a deal. It's beyond a deal. It's like, you feel kind of bad. And some games I've gotten for free, you know, from the, you know, Epic. They have all these free games, and some of them are like really, really good games. This is the open window hard drive again, and UV reactive everything. Yeah, back in the day. Well, UV is the thing for sure, but still running this case. Well, man, whatever works, right? Review 770, man, that goes back a long ways. Goes back, who knows, 10 years? 15 years. SnowRunner and Witcher. Yeah, I can see where those games would be relaxing. Another game that's totally relaxing is Red Dead Redemption 2, which I'm playing right now. Yeah, well, not everyone could get these hard drives back in the day, and I wouldn't have had one aside from the fact that I wasn't doing reviews. Where did all the videos go? I think they, meaning YouTube, should schedule, go public one at a time. Yeah, I know. I mean, YouTube was pretty good overall and bringing all this back. It took a couple of weeks, but I didn't have a lot of choices when it came to how I actually took them out of private, because the hacker put them all into private mode. I have over 3,000 videos. You know, I had to go through and select them all, and then I had to put them all to public. And some of them that were in unlisted or private were actually well, they were doubles, and some of those got released, and you know. Yeah, so it wasn't a total nightmare and a total disaster when I put them all to public, but you know, that would be nice, certainly. And I kind of had to trick it because I tried to update them, and I think I did them all, selected them all, and only half of them updated. And then I had to change some other settings, and then most of them updated. And then I had to go through every single page, 50 at a time. I had to go through every single page of 3,000 videos and go through and make the ones that didn't turn into public. Always like your humor. I'm glad you got your channel back. This is about Epic's free games, and one every week. Yeah, well, you get what you can, and a lot of times the games that they release aren't that great, but some of them are really good. Wow, good to see you. Been wondering where you've been. Yeah, what's the average price limit? $25. Buying a newly half working, very buggy game for 60 bucks. Yeah, there's no allure at all for that for me as well. I've thought about it many times about, you know, getting some of these new releases because, you know, they look so wonderful. And next year with all these releases for the Unreal Engine 5 games, like some of those games are going to be outstanding, but I can't even imagine the bugs that they'll have. And also the system requirements for a lot of these games are, maybe you'll need 7,000 series AMD video cards, and you'll need 4,000 series NVIDIA cards to play these games. And who can afford that? Because I don't know about you, if I play a game, I want to have everything maxed out, because I feel like I'm not experiencing it the way I should be. Yeah, I had an old pair of Koss headphones. I don't know when it was, in the 80s sometime. They were amazing. They were amazing. They still have them. I know Koss is still around, but I don't think they're maybe as high end as they used to be. Not sure what the company's up to, but thanks for the comment all the same. This is a video I did about don't take freedom for granted. Well, I'm not a veteran myself, but today I think a lot of us are not grateful. And when our freedoms are lost, then you really understand what it's like, and you're probably, very grateful. If you've been there and you've came back from it and you go back to being free again. I mean, look at the Ukraine, for example, right now, right? Freedom is, hopefully in a lot of first world countries, it's forever, but you just don't know. You never know that. Freedom is something we should not take for granted, because it could be taken away. Man, I've always loved how smooth your voice is. Make videos of reading bedtime stories. Well, thank you. I don't think that I will be making those videos, but you never know. This is a question regarding doing, video reviews again, and I can't see myself going back to that, but never say never. What is the future plan of 3D Game Man? Me, I'm just going to do what I'm doing, and this is what I'm doing right now, and we'll see where it goes. The thing is, too, when you get older, and your interests change, right, and your focus changes, and things look different. The world looks different, and it's just a different perspective. And everyone will go through this. When you're younger, you have different ambitions. You have a different perspective, different view on life, and things that you thought that you wouldn't do, you do. Removable motherboard trays. All jokes aside, they were a blessing. And manufacturers these days don't do this stuff because it's too expensive. They charge you an arm and a leg, and they push out these cases, and they're probably very cheap to manufacture. Yeah, I don't know if it'll ever make a comeback. Unless consumers demand it, it'll never make a comeback. What I used to like so much about a removable motherboard tray is, you could replace things quite easily. You just slip it out, put it on your workbench, do the work on it, put it back. That's it. Instead of having to unplug everything, on the case, and go underneath your desk and try to it's not the end of the world, really, but it just made it so much easier. And I don't know if really will ever come back in any major way, unfortunately. The companies now are going to try and they're going to try and make things as efficiently, as effectively, and as cheaply as they possibly can. And that certainly does not include a motherboard tray that's removable in a case. That's probably a massive added expense. Cryptocurrency, well, GPU mining right now is a waste of time because, of course, the prices and everything is completely tanked. I don't know the future of cryptocurrency. I don't know that it will be really going anywhere. It might be, it might not be. It's anyone's guess. This is funny. What is the meaning of life? Meaning of life. I've often thought about that, and there's no simple answer. There really isn't. I think if you are gracious and you have gratitude, I think you'll have a different perspective entirely on life. If you were 18 today and starting to make a life again, what education career path would you choose? Well, I would be a fireman, hands down. I would probably do some, stuff on the side. But yeah, that's what I would do. That sounds weird, right? But that's what I would do. Good money, it's maybe a little dangerous, but, overall, you got all the gear, you're trained, it's pretty safe. Well, back in the day, YouTube was not around, and you couldn't become an influencer. I have a problem, honestly, with the way that and how people influence people, because a lot of these people who are influencing people, they're a joke and start spewing a bunch of garbage, right? If they have no life experience, I mean, I see these kids on TikTok talking about, you know, giving advice. Okay, that's nice. You know, and hopefully it's positive advice and not nonsense and silly advice, because I see a lot of that as well. Like I said, I see a lot of crazy stuff on TikTok, and hopefully you're smart enough to realize to take everything with a grain of salt, you know, everything. That's just my personal view. That's completely my personal view. If you think that a 15 or 20-year-old has life experience and enough academic knowledge to get on a platform and start preaching and dictating to people of how people should be and how things should be, and, you know, and all the rest of it, and dispensing advice, then there's a big problem. So just watch that stuff. Keep that in the back of your mind. And I do too. I mean, I see a lot of this stuff and I really go, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. You got to be. And there's people, and some of these videos have millions of hits. Like, it's a problem. It's a severe problem, because all you have to do, right, is hit a nerve with someone, and it pulls them in. And these content creators know this, obviously. And if you can't see beyond that, then you get wrapped up in it, right? Headsets. No, I do not. I do not have any vast collection of anything. All the stuff that I reviewed, for the most part, I either gave it away or I sold it at a massive loss, because, of course, anything you sell, you lose, I don't know, maybe 60, 70%, right? I just couldn't keep it all. I mean, where are you going to put it all? Put it in storage? Cost you like, you know, $300 or $400 a month? No. So no, I don't actually. Are you going to get back in doing PC hardware reviews? No, probably not. Not right now, at least. Anyway, the beard. Okay, conversation about my beard. Yeah, looks good on you. Well, thank you for saying that. I love the beard. This person says they have a double chin. Yeah, that would be a problem if you get a full-on beard. You could trim it though. I mean, I think you could do something. You're 55. I don't know if you're being honest. You're being nice, but thank you. I don't feel like my age, really. I mean, I guess age is just a number, but I don't feel like I'm 55. Well, some days I suppose I do, but, you know, it's I'm doing all the things I pretty much used to do. You know, you go hiking and kayaking and mountain biking, and I have an e-scooter, and, you know, I love staying active. I like to look. Well, thank you very much. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it. We'll see. It's good for the winters. That's for sure. Yep. This is a funny comment. Captain Highliner. Yeah, I think I'd agree with you there. A lot of people are calling me Santa as well. I think there's a comment somewhere up there. Yeah, right there. Never knew about this game. Cities Skylines. Mapping without a compiler. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty neat. I thought it was like, I as well, I agree with you. Like, I thought first when I got it, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can actually make maps, and I can build stuff on the map. There's a Santa comment. Oh, this was the video I posted about $6,000 Canadian, which is around $7,000. Time you add taxes on it, and maybe add something else to it, maybe $8,000 time you're finished. This is a system, I believe, with the 4090. What a deal. Crazy. Conversation about my beard. Oh, does it become cumbersome when you're eating? Well, a little, especially like hamburgers or hot dogs or cake or stuff like that. It can. I tried to trim it like around my mouth, so that's not such an issue. You've always been my hero. The Raptor X 150. Yeah. Yep. That was the thing back then. This guy's asking me about this, you know, parodies that were done about me and stuff. I don't really care. I mean, you know, it's content providers never love the fact that you take their content and you put it in a video, and, you know, that in itself is what a lot of content creators don't appreciate, right? Making fun, well, whatever, right? The question I have for anyone else who's making fun of anyone else, though, is that, are you okay with someone making fun of you? Because a lot of times people who make fun of other people, they would not be able to, you know, take it back. You know, they would, you know, they can throw it, but they can't take it. And, you know, well, this is a super sensitive world we're living in these days. So I think that people are even worse than they used to be. And, you know, I mean, some things you can't take. Some things that people say to you are inherently and absolutely rude. But I remember first when I started all this, there were death threats, you know, in my life, doing video reviews. Like, what the hell? What is wrong with you? Why? Like, my God. Yeah, okay, so this is $6,000 rig again. I need it. Yeah, I need it too, but I'm not going to spend that kind of money on it. I have an Alienware system that I've been using for a couple of years. Has a 3080 in it, and it's fine. You know, I have all the games that I play are maxed out. Everything, all the eye candy is on. Usually get anywhere from 60 to 100 frames per second. I don't want anything more than that, but I think next year is going to be a bit of a problem, and I'm hoping maybe by the end of next year, maybe some of the costs will drop. Well, I'm sure they will. Something else comes along. I've often thought about maybe getting, when prices drop, getting like a 3090 Ti or something, because that's, I think, on par with a 4080. Let's chat. This is a video idea, done a bunch of stuff. I like how you referred to 10 degrees Celsius as not cold. Well, it's not really cold. When I used to ride motorcycle, I've ridden motorcycles in 10 degrees Celsius. So yeah, hands freezing. I remember when 2K Desktop was bleeding edge. Yeah, I mean, for a while their computers were pretty affordable, and they went nuts. Well, that's true, I suppose. I mean, you know, $3,000 is for half of it's for the, you know, for the video card. But remember, when I bought my system a couple years ago, I spent $2,000. It was a bunch of deals going on at the time, but really at the time, that video card, a 3080, was $2,000. Not quite, but you know. So if you look at it that way, the system itself costed, aside from excluding the video card, the system cost $500, which is a deal. It's you know, 1,000-watt power supply, water cooling on the cooler. Knock on wood, still working. So I hope it can work for at least another year or two until I get another one. Yeah. Do I play 2D games? No, not really. I mean, some of them I think are very interesting, and I might start to get into some of those. But I've been trying to make my way through so many games over the last two-ish years that, and like I said, I mean, 100, 200 hours for me in a game takes me a very long time to finish it. So that's not a good thing or a bad thing, really. I mean, I don't want to pour too much time into it, but it's amazing because, you know, if every day you pour an hour or two into a game and the game is 100, 200 hours, well, I'll do the math on that, right? It's going to take you quite a while to get through it. But yeah, I got no problems with, you know, 2D games. Yeah, I hear you, man. It's hard to find the time to, if you have a family and stuff, especially, and a job and all the other stuff. If you're a kid and you don't have a job and you're staying home, you know, whatever, you know, you can spend 10 hours a day on games, right? I don't know if that's really a good life plan, but no, it's not, actually. This is about, what are you up to? Yeah, this is the video I did. Let's chat. Skyrim, yeah. That's a game I haven't played, actually, and I don't know if I will at this point. Maybe. It's one of those games that pull you in. After Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm going to dive into Witcher 3, and that I've been holding off for quite a while in playing, so because of the next-gen update. I already put, I think, 20 hours into the game, but I stopped as soon as I heard about the next-gen update. And then I just went on to playing other games. Yeah, kayaking is wonderful. I enjoy it myself. Keep growing it. Keep growing your beard. 4 inches. Boy, that's a long beard. Yeah, I could definitely go. I don't know how I'm going to. I mean, it's getting a little long now, actually. So I'm not sure. Let's see. Maybe I'll. I don't know how. I'm not going to be able to keep it, I don't think, in the summer. It's going to be too hot and stuff. I'm never going to buy Alienware again, since you can't change simple things like the motherboards. Yeah, that's true enough. You know, it's like a laptop, right? When something starts to fail or die in it, you kind of got to get rid of it. You can't replace it. You just got to get a replacement from Dell, and who knows how much that's going to cost, and you know, the torment and trouble going through that. Or, for example, power supply that fails. Good luck, you know. So that is certainly a problem. And maybe it's a good idea to get an extended warranty with these types of computers, right? But you would need to get one for 2 or 3 years, and then, you know, that costs extra, but, you know, in a way it might be worth it. This is another reason why, you know, I didn't build a system back then, is because to get the 3080 and to build the system with shortages, and you can't get what you want, and things being so expensive, you know, why would I build a $4,000, $5,000 rig, and I can have one for $2,000? That's, you know, maybe it's like the $4,000, $5,000 rig might be 3 frames, 5 frames per second more in some games. Scared out of your mind, Red Resident Evil 7 game. I don't know, this comment kind of seems out of place, doesn't it? Oh, I was talking about a bunch of stuff in this video. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, I kind of ramble on some of these videos. Yeah, I was talking about, you know, all kinds of stuff about my bike. I went for a mountain bike ride and I completely ripped off the rear derailleur. I was going over some just leaves, really, and I was just going through some, well, it was muddy kind of, and I was, you know, forcing the bike, and the back derailleur broke. I don't know, I think something flipped up or a stick maybe launched off the ground and jammed into the derailleur and must have snapped. The whole bloody thing snapped off, and then I had to make my way back. I had, you know, I had to walk the bike out of the woods, and it's a 29-inch frame, so thankfully it's high enough so you can kind of just, you know, just like a horse, kind of walk with it. So yeah, the whole bloody thing snapped off. But derailleurs are pretty cheap. They're like $50. I'm thinking about just bringing it to a place and get them to do it. I can no problem doing it myself, but they can do a whole tune-up on the bike maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I have all the winter to figure it out. Fond memories of watching your videos online. Yeah, with all the kick-ass product recommendations. This product is kick-ass. Time flies. It certainly does. You know, and that's something else. When you're young, maybe you're 15 now, or you're 25 now, or you're 35, but believe me, it will fly by. It will fly by like no tomorrow. Well, thank you. Looking great. That's a nice comment. Yeah, I know what you mean there, man. A backlog of games. I've kind of cleared through most of the ones that I wanted to play. A few more that I need to clear through. You know, and that sounds horrible. Like, you know, you just want to clear through it like you're, you know, oh my God, I have all these dishes to do, and I have the washroom to wash, and I have to clean the floors. It's not like that. It's just that, you know, you have so many games. If you haven't been into it for a while and you have very little time to play games, then you just, you know, some of the games I feel like this though. Some of the games you just want to get through them. I just want to kind of, you know, after being in them for 20, 30 hours, some of them are very monotonous, I find, and you just want to kind of finish them. I'm playing a game. I'm trying to get through a game right now. I'm not going to say what it is. I will maybe release a video on this, but it's a great game, great visuals and stuff, but it's a bit monotonous, and I'm just kind of pecking at that game in the background while I'm playing other games, like, you know, like I mentioned, Red Dead Redemption 2, which is brilliant. Like, I'm glad I gave it a second chance, because I tried it a couple years ago, and I wasn't really into that type of thing back then. I was wanting to be more, I don't know, more action packed. So. But now it's like, this is very calming, relaxing. Yeah, Rockstar, yeah, I tell you, this was not relaxing. Trying to install the launcher and then get the social side of Rockstar working along with the Epic account was, I mean, it wasn't a nightmare, but it was trying, that's for sure. You know, I spent probably 2 or 3 hours trying to figure out what was going on, and ultimately I had to contact Rockstar, and then they fixed it. They had to unlink my Epic account, which was actually linked correctly, but for some reason it got broken, or I don't know. Anyway, they relinked it, or unlinked it, and I relinked it again, and it worked. You know, it's for security reasons and stuff, I suppose, and you know, whatever. But I think there should be a better way, a different way. There are a lot of issues about this. I mean, if you Google it, it's a problem. It's a big problem. And a lot of people just try to install the game, and they run into all these problems, and because of that, they just give up. They just completely give up. They get the game refunded, or they just buy the game and don't play it because it's too much trouble. We're used to now just getting codes, entering code, you know, into whatever launcher you have, Steam or Epic or Ubisoft or whatever, and you just enter the code, you download it, however long it takes to download it, and then install it, you know, within an hour or 2 or 3, and then it's up and running, and you're off to the races, right? No, I didn't actually try this in 2018 when it was released. I did not. And again, because games, when they're new, I don't try them. I know from experience that's just you know, they're not really stable enough, a lot of them, to be played. They're crashing all the time. They have glitches, you know, and 6 months to a year at least for me to try a game that's released. I think it's great that you're enjoying the great outdoors. Well, I've always done this. Yeah, good for you. Hiking and kayaking. You want to get out there, man. You want to get out there and you want to enjoy nature and life, and, you know, smell it and see it and hear it, and you know, Playing a game is one thing. You know, staying inside watching TV, that's one thing. You know, doing crossword puzzles or whatever you're doing inside, you need to get out. If you possibly can, if you're healthy. That's the other side of it too. If you get out and you know you're active and whatnot, I think if you're sound body, sound mind, that's true. I think it's very true. Yeah, it's been on my playlist for a while too, and I eventually made it through it, and I will definitely be playing the new one that's being released, and I think there's a comment coming up about that. Yes, I think I got it free actually. But see, there you go, 20-30 hours into a game, it was free. They're giving away some like crazy games that are, you know, stellar. I mean, I don't know if I would call this game A Plague Tale: Innocence, the first one, a masterpiece, but man, it's a very good story. Everything about it was very entertaining. And the game mechanics, too, I thought were unique, which is, you know, that's something. To pull that off is really something. Yeah, you should give it a try. Make sure that you're in the frame of mind where you're going into the game and you know that's going to be very slow, very methodical. You know, that's because that's what this game's about. You'll get lost in the game. It's like you're in a game, but you're actually not. You're in a movie. You're playing a main character in a movie. About the whole gaming age, well, I don't know if it was that surprising. It wasn't to me. I mean, I thought most people would be in their 30s when, you know, gamers and stuff. But Goat Simulator 3, this is the new one, I believe. No, I have not played that. Cities Skylines, for example, is a game that I never thought I would be playing. But my goodness, there's so much replayability in that game. You know, that game will live on forever as long as the developers support it. You know, there's so many things about building a city from the ground up. And you can even create the maps, right? I never thought I'd play that game, so maybe this is something that I'll look into. This was about Rockstar Launcher and all the troubles that I had with, you know, installing it and getting it to work and getting the game to work. But I'm a Steam guy. I get that. However, Steam has their own issues as well. The problem is a lot of Steam keys and stuff. They don't come cheap. So I was actually, I don't know, disappointed, I suppose, that more people weren't over the age of the older people, 40s and 50s, you know. But it could be also, you know, it's also very relevant to the folks who were here, you guys, right, that are voting on the poll. I don't know, this comment, I read it, I'm not sure I understand it. I don't know if this person is 74 years old or he knows someone who's 74 years old, but if you're 74 years old and you're still gaming, rock on. Yeah, 30-something. Well, when I started gaming, Commodore 64, Mission Impossible was a game on the Commodore 64 way back then. I think that was in 1984. So I was a teenager. I was 17, 18 before I went to university. Then I played no games. Oh, that's not true. I played some, but different focus. 22 years ago, yeah, well, good. You've been gaming for a long time. Yes, this is the sequel, Requiem, for A Plague Tale. I'm really looking forward to this game, and I hear it's good. I saw some of the reviews on it, and the issue is, I don't know. I didn't hear about, you know, many issues with the game with regards to bugs and stuff and fixes. But I think there's one. I think NVIDIA released a driver that fixed some kind of problem. But I'm gonna hold off, maybe till the game drops a little more. And besides, why would I buy it now? I have a ton of other games that I can play. I just have in queue to play. This was a video I did about when I was out for a hike, and first when I saw this, I was like, what the hell's going on here? So there was paint all over the branches, just low branches that you could hit your head on, and roots, you know, on the ground that were sticking up and going across the trail. So in actual fact, this is kind of like behind a school area, but it's a huge trail system that goes all the way up into the woods. So I think what they do is they maybe have running and stuff on these trails. They can be aware of what's, you know, on foot and on head, right? Look up, yep, there's a branch, and look down to see the roots. You can see it very clearly when they're marked. However, it takes away from the whole experience being in nature, right? When you see paint over everything. Now, I would imagine the paint that they're using is probably environmentally friendly, but it just looks bad. This person's in Texas, and he said if you see purple paint, it means no trespassing. It could shoot you. Oh boy. This person is saying a bunch, you know, of teens, right? When I was in the heyday, this channel on my site and all the rest of it, in its heyday, people were in their teens, you know, young, and now they're 10 years older or so, and They're probably in their late 20s or early 30s or mid 30s or whatever. So I agree with that. Oh, yes, Witcher 3. And actually, Witcher 3, the next gen, will be released on December 14th now, 2022. So that's official, which is excellent. 2 years ago, I poured, I don't know, 16 hours into the game or so. I started to play it again, didn't think that they were really going to release an update, a next-gen update, and I stopped playing it back then because I said, well, I have so many games I have to play, I'll put this one on hold, and then I will wait for the next-gen update and then play it when it was released. And I will do that after I finish Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'll go on to playing that game. So, I don't know, I mean, this person's saying, is it coincidence that they're releasing this and the new AMD 7900X XT XTX? Maybe not, I don't know. Yeah, it is a story. It's more of a story than anything else. However, there are some interesting, like I said before, game dynamics and how they use the rats to your advantage. You can use them as a weapon. Do I still have this motherboard? Look at the number on this, 238. This video was done a very, very long time ago. So I do not have this motherboard anymore. Robots are getting better. Humans are getting dumber. I replied to this and basically said, I don't know if humans are getting dumber. I think humans are more informed now than ever before. I'm not sure if they're smarter or dumber because of that. I don't know, but kind of mentioned about, everyone becoming inherently lazy in every respect, academically, physically, and all the rest of it. And some are not. I'm not saying everyone is, but yeah, he was talking about the movie WALL-E. It dictates a future where humanity are glued to screens and they are pretty much give away their souls, and it's a future of convenience. And that's what we're living in right now, and it will become more and more and more so that way because, we become lazy. With increased nutrition, yeah, well, I agree with you there. I mean, you can have all kinds of information, and unless you read the stuff that is true and accurate, and you can absorb it and adhere to it, then it means nothing. Like for example, for smoking or drinking, people can tell you up and down that smoking is bad for you, and you ignore it and you smoke because you want to smoke. That's your choice, right, to do so. I think it's about choice, right? This is a funny thing, right? If you look at, let's just go back, I don't know, 10,000 years ago. Were we dumb back then? Or were we not informed, Or were we informed incorrectly? Probably a combination of those two things, right? I think the human brain has a massive capacity for storing information. And, as I mentioned before, it's not about that. It's about, just laziness. It's about, I don't want to do this because I want to do something else that, releases dopamine every 10 minutes. I want to go on trips and play games and eat junk food and, and do other things that give me that feeling, right? And that's okay for a while. That's actually what that is living in the now. Seems like there's a whole generation right now that's doing that. So good luck with that, because probably is not good for the future of humanity. Yeah, I mean, the system is inherently unfair. I agree with you there, no matter how much effort you put into it. However, here's the difference. If you put in effort and you believe that what you're doing and what you've done and what you've learned, and you can learn from your mistakes and you can go forward, I think then you're the type of person that can contribute to the world, and you're the type of person that's not inherently relying upon the system to support you. So you help move your family forward, and you move in essence, then you move your town, your city, your province, your country forward, right? I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of institutions and a lot of cultural norms and a lot of things about society these days where a lot of people seem to want to destroy all of that. And, everyone should become independent, and you should be the person that you want to be, and you can be this or you can be that, and you can be completely and utterly isolated from everyone else, and that's okay. And if you look at all the issues that people are having these days, I mean, there's a massive spike in the mental health issues these days. And where's it all coming from? I don't know. I mean, I don't have an answer really, but I mean, when you start destroying culture and institutions and the basis of everything starts to break down. Again, like it's like the environmental crisis, right? If you're listening to news all the time or on social media all the time, maybe you're getting a lot of misinformation. And just don't think that the world's going to end in like a decade, because it's not. We might be breaking through and crossing over boundaries, and we really need to fix that. And I think hopefully, like I mentioned before, governments and countries and companies will get us back on track, I hope, because it's not going to be in anyone's interests, right? The rich people, whatever, right, who basically control us all. It's not going to be in their best interest for their families going forward if everything is destroyed. I think we've had our heads up, for quite a while, and I think maybe we've pulled them out now. I don't know. I'm hoping. But you're right. The system is inherently unfair. Life is unfair. That's just the way it is. Life is like that. I think as sooner you realize that life is like that, the more that you'll maybe structure your life going forward, yes, to make it more fair for everyone, not only yourself, but for everyone going forward. There's something to be said about people who are narcissistic and have this attitude where, they're always right, and the actions that they take can destroy, it can have a massive ripple effect, and it will end up on their shoulders. I think on social media these days, no one thinks about nothing. They just, blurt out something very offensive, and it's crazy. I mean, look what's going on with Twitter right now. I'm subscribed to a few people on Twitter. Now, one of them is Elon Musk, and some of the comments and some of the stuff I see is insane. It's crazy. He's a funny guy, that guy. I don't envy his job at all. I can't even imagine. The guy's a workaholic, and he's a smart guy. No matter what anyone says about him, he's a brilliant man. I think mostly he's into code and stuff, right? I find it funny to see this is tricky. This is a game that's being released, I believe, next year. It doesn't really offend me. I'm just surprised in this day and age that a game title like this is really even allowed to exist. What screws are on the side panels? Just regular thumb screws. As far as I recall, Super 3D Noah's Ark was made by a Christian developer. Made up superhero is Batman. I never really liked Batman for some reason. I played one of the Batman games, and but yeah, whatever. Hulk was my thing. This person here has a comment about it's not fair to dismiss a religion by the actions of a group in the religion without learning about their core scriptures and teachings. Well, I agree with you, and I don't agree with you. Because if you were abused by the priests in the church, or if you had your family slaughtered by, a group, I'm not saying that happened, any time in the last 50 years, but, well, maybe it has in some religions, in some parts of the world. I mean, God, there's still horrendous atrocities committed in the name of God and religion and all the rest of it, right? But I get what you're saying, totally get what you're saying. A lot of people can't make that distinction, right? And I think if you can, then you have tremendous faith, and you do believe totally in the scriptures and the teachings, which is, I guess, a wonderful thing, because a lot of people don't have that faith. There's a lot of weird games on Steam. Yeah, I suppose so. A lot of weird game titles. Couldn't care less. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I don't really. It's neither here nor there, to be honest. Hopefully they'll do this game, and they will. It will be a good game. I mean, a lot of games are based on religion and religious facts and all that stuff. So I'm glad you gave it a second chance. Yes, so am I. I mean, it's been Red Dead Redemption 2 has been wonderful so far, and I think it'll only get better, like you said. Masterpiece. Yeah, I think it is. It definitely is a masterpiece. Yeah, controversy around the game, that's for sure. I mean, it's very easy to see that with a title like that. And I think there's going to be some pushback on this when it's released. I don't know. Maybe, who knows, right? Maybe there won't be any. Maybe it'll be done in such a way that, maybe it might be a way for the church to capture and maybe more people would be pulled into, you know, religion and the Bible and worship and faith, and who knows. Yes, the good old Zalman CNPS 9500. That was funny. I still remember pulling that out of the box. It was like, oh my God, look at all this copper. This is a video that I did on Epic's free games. I continually do these. Sometimes I miss them, but if there's a really good one. This is one that's coming up, which I will definitely download, and I will definitely play. It's Star Wars Squadrons, and you're looking forward to that. Really looking forward to that game, and it's free, which is brilliant. So don't miss that. It's coming on November 24th. That's it for me. I'm going to get out of here. It's been, I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a long time. So I will see you in the next one. Remember, hit the bell so you get notified when I release a new video. Subscribe, like, and share, and also consider becoming a Patreon.